the reason why I'm talking about Kanye West is because it leads into my next question. Before we get there though, banana cannonball me, baby.
Yeah. So spread leg, spread, spread wide leg,
Wide leg.
cannonball, right? So
Yeah.
it's pretty much the arm straight out, leg straight out, bringing it up, explode back down,
Let me see this
bringing
thing.
it up, explode back down.
Ah,
This is the
ah,
muscle. This is the muscle.
ah. All right, so banana cannonball it. All right, cool. Keep your set going. Keep your set going. All right, so with K
Yeah.
West, man. So he made that comment a little while ago on TMZ, and oh boy, I can't remember his name right now. Shout out to him because he kept it real. One of the few black dudes on TMZ. Um, it was like Kanye West said, slavery was a choice. Slavery was a choice. And I get what he was saying. He was basically trying to say that like it was more of us than it was of them, and they should have rebelled and they should have revolted, and they decided to let them do that. They didn't fight They didn't fight tooth and nail. They didn't fight to the end. And which leads into the implication that he would fight tooth and nail, that he would do whatever it takes in order to not be a slave or be enslaved. What do you think about that, yo?
Um. Again, what I was talking about before. I mean, it's easier said than done. Okay. We can talk all that cash shit right now that we're not involved in that. We have AC in our homes. Okay. I
Right.
just, what I mean. We have indoor plumbing, man. Stop playing. Uh, so I look. I'm not. I really don't have much to say about that. I think. So really, the man is just a cloud chaser. And
The slave.
he has been trained by the best in guerrilla marketing that exists. Okay, who was his ex-wife? His ex-wife was Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian is a self-made billionaire based on shit content. Okay, look, excuse my language, but it really is. It's not enlightening. It is nothing. There's nothing to it. Now, shout outs to them for doing so and preying on those who are willing to kind of rock with that. But yeah, it's not my cup of tea. Not necessarily trying to talk negative about it, but it really doesn't bring any. Like I said, I don't think it's worth.
Whoa,
I
whoa,
don't think
Dave!
it's worth.
Don't you mess with these people's Kardashians? That's like messing with their Christ. You better stop it. You better
Hey,
stop it.
hey,
You're
look,
gonna get
hey,
canceled.
I gotta keep
Yo,
it
Kanye
real.
West
I
is a
gotta keep it real.
Kanye West. How about this for real? Kanye West is a slave, so don't talk about what slave you would have done if you were a slave. We see what you're doing now, and you are a slave.
Right.
Boom, mic drop. You are a slave.
And again, he's just clout chasing, and I think that got him more publicity than anything. You understand what I'm saying? The whole Trump thing got him publicity. Put Kanye's West in the next question is just like you implied to, is he a genius or is he insane? Right? Like what we talked about before. Yeah, I think he's a genius. And when it comes to it, because he's playing to like the end game is capitalism, the end game is money, and he's doing what's necessary to attain the most of it. With his skill set, and he's again, it doesn't matter what he thinks, right? We forget about that from one day to the next. We're push button society, man. We're fickle. We have the attention spans of fleas. Okay, so we don't remember that. We don't remember one day to the next, man. When it comes to this crap,
So
because
I
there's too much
differ.
content out there.
I differ here. I differ here. I think I think him. I think that's what makes him a slave. I don't think that's what
Oh,
makes him
I
a
didn't.
genius.
I didn't say he wasn't. I didn't say he wasn't a
No,
slave. I didn't say.
hear me out. Hear
I
me
didn't
out.
say.
No. Hear me out. You said, and I'm not sure if you misspoke, but you're saying his ability to basically flip anything to make it into money makes him a genius. I think that's his downfall. I think that's what makes him a slave. His genius is in his musical ability, and especially what he can do when it comes to mixing and mastering and like editing or producing music or making beats. I even think he's nice with the pen when he really has time to do that and not pay people to write his rhymes for him. So I think he's nice. I think he's a creative genius, and that's why I put him in my top five. But when it comes to him being willing to do or say anything or be gimmicky or do the guerrilla marketing, like you said, that is why he is a slave. The fact that he thinks that certain clothes make you a certain person, or he even said it like that he's a slave because he forgot who he is. I mean, he said, um, you know, um, um, he said we're all subconscious. I'm just the first to admit it. He was like, I can't even go to the grocery store without some ones that's clean and a shirt with a team of seams. We live in the American dream. The people that are, say it with me, workout buddies, highest up, got the lowest self-esteem, right? He knew this shit, so that's why I fucked with him at first. And now it's like, how do you put out content like that and then turn right around and be like, oh, well, I'm gonna get this money, like.
Well, Jay, but look. All right, so it's all about application, right? It's all about what you are trying to attain, right? Like right now, we're trying to get hearts and minds, right? And we're using whatever tactics necessary to do so. Okay, he was out for the almighty dollar, and he was great at doing so, bro. You know what I'm saying? So like he used his intellect and his abilities and his skills to do so. You know what I mean? However you slice it, being a slave, whatever mold he fit to get it, he did it. You know what I'm saying?
So do
So
you
I'm
think?
not.
So do you think that when he said George Bush doesn't care about black people, do you think that was him being gimmicky, or do you think that was the old Kanye?
Nah, I think that was that again, that was the negative. Well, I get all right. There's no such thing as negative publicity, right? Right? Like there's no like
Right.
what? How did that hurt him? How did that hurt Kanye West, bro?
It helped him.
Let's,
That's what I'm saying. It helped him. It helped him.
okay, okay. So my thing is this: nobody's willing to do stuff like that. Nobody's ballsy enough to do shit like that, bro. Especially in Hollywood. Are you insane? Like, did you see Mike
So
Myers'
so
face?
so
Did you
I
see
did.
Chris
I
Tucker?
remember. I remember. So with that being the case, this is where the genius would lie for me. The genius would lie in if he kept doing shit like that, like telling the truth, like
Uh
saying
huh.
things that people wouldn't say because it's too true. But that's not what Kanye West has been doing. Kanye West has been saying that
Nah.
slavery was a choice. Kanye
Uh
West has been
huh.
saying things that like even low bottom feeder black people. Kanye West is resorting to in order to get views or get people, or like he what do you do? The Mercedes-Benz Stadium, you know, he rented out space in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and he lived in there. They say he moved in there, and they say he paid $1 million a day to live in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium to finish the Donda album. It's like,
Okay. He's
what is
he's a
that?
big ass. So this is the thing, man. I think pure creativity and intelligence comes from a childlike state. Um, again, when you don't have the same, inhibitions and distractions as, like you would in your adult life, I think that is the mother of creation. That's the mother of invention. Honestly, because like kids are the most, intuitive and ingenuitive beings on the face of this earth because they're not inhibited with doubt. They're not inhibited with all the things that we instill in them to kind of stifle their growth. So I think when he does things like that, he's living in a childlike state, bro. Like honestly, that's something you do as a kid. You remember like when we were like, man, if I had $1 million, I'll have me a house on the moon, or I have me like a submarine and all that other crazy. You know what
I
I'm saying?
get
That
it.
crazy
I
talk,
get it.
right?
I get it.
So
It's the
so
crazy
he's
Kanye.
got right,
It's the
but he's
crazy
got
Kanye.
that dough. I think it's a childlike comic. I think it's a childlike Kanye. I don't want to say crazy. I said that he's it's like Michael Jackson. He's pulling his version of Michael Jackson. Right? Was Michael Jackson crazy? People would say he was,
Yeah,
right? But was
yeah,
Michael
yeah.
Jackson crazy? Was Mike or just a victim of stardom, right? Like, so my thing is this: I think he's in a childlike mode. I think he's in his own zone right now. $1 million a day for something like that to isolate himself to something that you always thought about, like just crazy thoughts, like you always thought about doing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so it's just he's doing it. He's just doing it. And then the thing is, in the midst of him doing it, he's gaining publicity in the same light because you know about it. Everybody knows about it. So it's just like he's just building himself up, man. He's starting his own kingdom, man. Like he's just being the best him in a childlike state, man. Like he's ventured off in so many different things, the gospel stuff, all this craziness, the clothing line. He's just like I said, he's everywhere he wants to be, and he's
Right.
doing it in his own way. That's why I said so it's hard to debate whether or not he's smart or crazy because but in America he's intelligent. Put it plainly, because the end game is what capitalism. The end game is getting that dollar, is filling up that money bin like Scrooge McDuck, and he's doing it.
Yeah. See, for me, I guess for me, it's not. I mean, that is a good. That's a good, avenue. I want money to come along my journey, but my end game is definitely not to get to the bag. hey, y'all could shoot me. Shoot, you could. I'm the messenger. You can shoot me if you want. But my end game isn't getting to the bag. The bag comes along while I'm on the journey to my end game. And you feel me? You feel me? And I know that's how you are too. I know. Well, I'm just saying, like, I live in Atlanta, right? So, he did the first like listening party here, and people just sat out there. People paid all this money, and they just went out there, and he didn't even speak. He wore a mask. He didn't even know if it was Kanye West. He didn't even know if it was him. So that's on the people that wanted to pay that money, right? That's smart. I thought that's a marketing genius. You're right. But when it comes to paying $1 million to stay in, $1 million a day to stay someplace where you could, first of all of the community around the Mercedes-Benz Stadium is dilapidated. It's nothing but homelessness. I mean, we have tent communities. I mean, what I would respect more, and this is just me, this is what I would do, if I had Kanye West money, I would say I'll pay $1 million a day, but I'm gonna need y'all to help me donate $500,000 a day, or I need you to take half of that, or I need you to take a quarter of that, and I need you to put it into the homeless communities around this, because nobody's paying the Mercedes-Benz Stadium $1 million a day for a room, right? They capped off of that. If that was true, they made so much money off of that shit, right? So at least orchestrate a deal where like people who are suffering in the community can benefit off of your said genius. Then I'll be like, this motherfucker, just like what he did with George Bush. Like what he did with George Bush when he was like, George Bush doesn't, when he said George Bush doesn't care about black people. That was a voice. We were like, oh shit, he said what everybody's been saying, and he said that at the perfect time because George Bush allowed the levees to break, or he made the levees break, or whatever the fuck. It was it was a scandal. So the fact that he said that, I was like, he's a fucking genius. So do something like that, man. Don't just like draw attention to yourself so that you could run the capitalistic race. Like better people around you. Are you doing it, man?
I don't know. George Bush is involved in that. I really can't speak too much on that one, but I know that when you talk about the homeless, he does need to pay homage or royalties to those fools for stealing their ideas for his clothing line. Something. This shit is garbage. That shit is garbage. You should do something. You should do something for the fools, bro. Because when do you get your inspiration for that shit, right? So like, that's real. That's the real shit.
Yo, man. Hey, yo, man. Look, my app's still good, man. I say we get out of here. What do you say, bro? We can't do it no better than that last bit you just did. That was perfect, bro. Hey, great ab day, Dave. Great conversations as always. Always therapeutic being with you, my dude. Hey, y'all been in PE with Dave and Jay, where we build while we build. Yeah.
I don't want nothing. I don't want nothing that's under 100. I don't want nothing. I don't want nothing that's under 100.